Hey, listen, I quit. Yeah, I'm going into stocks.
Name of the game. Move the money from your client's pocket into your pocket.
But if you can make your clients money at the same time, it's advantageous to everyone, correct?
No one is paying attention.
It's unbelievable.
Have to act now.
God, this is intimate. I feel like I'm financially inside of you or something.
Okay.
I have 5 houses and a condo.
I'm considering going long on April wheat. What do you think, Valentine?
Alright, so hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So in this video we're going to take a look again at some of the currency pairs I've been looking at, some of the commodities I've been looking at, and we'll talk about where I'm positioned in these things, what I'm looking at, what I'm looking for, etc. So again, I'll be giving you a very in-depth tour of market profile and how I use it and how you can use it to improve and level up your trading. All right, so let's start with the Aussie dollar, which, as I told you guys, I am looking at this pair as a buy the dip scenario. We are setting up at the moment, so we've done the balance, right? So we retested the highs. So in my previous videos you'd have said that I did talk about retesting the highs, perhaps pushing into the offer stack, but for me that was an obvious top. And again, we were citing the gap in value, which was important, and then we have a bid stack. So I'm paying very close attention to what's going on here, and I'm looking for a break and a fill of the gap in value. We almost always tend to get this, so whether you get it a week down the line or 2 weeks down the line, we tend to get this. But I believe that the way we're setting up, we're going to get some real expanded volatility coming into Wednesday, Thursday, rolling into Friday. So some interesting moves ahead. But if we do get a pullback in this, I'll be looking to buy the dip, because I think we should get a pretty decent pullback from the lows. I do think the dollar is not going to remain strong, even if it does go lower. Structurally, the Aussie is in a bullish long-term framework, in my opinion. So I do think that it's a good buy the dip strategy. We can see obviously rising value perception. So a lot of reasons why we're going to start to deduce that this is potentially a good buy opportunity. We will get a shift in value this week, but again, it really depends on where we settle. Again, if we settle a lot lower and we get a strong hold on the pullback, then I would actually even expect a stronger reversal come into next week. So fairly bearish to bullish on the Aussie, because again, I'm looking for a buy area, and that's one of the things we have to think about as traders, is that what's the trade location? Guys, you hear me say this time and time again. What is the trade location? So where are we trading from? Again, if you were getting long into the bid stack going back a couple of weeks this week, then you're in a much better position with your trade. Again, trading into that, you don't have to focus on intraday charts. You can look at the longer time frame and you can execute on that, and it will feel like an intraday execute. For example, a trade down into this area as I would say a rule for trade location. As we trade into bid stacks, we have to be assessing what's going on, and it becomes a good buy into the bid stack. Where do your stops go? We're looking at about 43 ticks here, guys. 43 pips to the low of the bid stack, right? Below value too. So it's a great trade location. You tend to expect rebounds from that. Whilst everyone else saw a strong short week and was expecting continuation, because again, the typical retail trading mentality is that we got a structural break here. So if you can see that here, we're breaking out on a longer time frame. So we're going to go lower, right? And if you see how the structure set up, impulse, pullback, and we're thinking about impulse, instead we get a failure swing, right? So we go up, hit, fail to do a new low, and then we rebound. And this is what everyone gets caught out, right? So again, with the profile, you can see that. You can see all those traders getting trapped here, you know, as the price action struggles to get out of this area. But all the time we're being absorbed out of the bids. And the bid stack was holding us up, and then look at the rebound, right? We straight back up to the highs. And then now, of course, if you're thinking about trading a breakout, we're going lower. Instead, wait for this. It's all about trade location, guys. Wait for the pullback. Get into a decent trade location. Observe the long-term market structure. That's kind of where we want to be. All right, so once again, crude oil, I've got a position on this one. I think on my last video I didn't actually put up you know, current running P&Ls, but I'll try and put that up so you can have an idea of where we're positioned against this week. We did come out of our dollar cap position, we closed that for profit, and obviously the video prior to this one I did show you how that works. But again, we got a rebound here. Now crude oil is sort of settling. We traded that value high, so remember we talked about the inside value stuff. So we opened at value high. It made it an interesting opportunity for a short. However, I was long on this, and again, it's all about the structure. So we've gone up, we've hunted liquidity just above the highs, we've pulled back quite strongly, and then we traded not quite the low. We get massive responsive activity. So again, for me, trading into these extreme value lows, so we got a couple here, we got some responsive buying down here and longer term, so we're going to draw in some demand. Right now, what we don't want to see is a really big retreat to the downside and then we start to break. But usually with this, we tend to get a big strong structure to the upside, right? So I'm still relatively bullish on crude. We got a nice little bid stack forming, so just after the response we can see people taking those bids, and then we get this sort of double distribution shape, and then we close. So from a wick point of view, this is the open, this is the close. So if you're thinking about this on a weekly candlestick, we can see that there was demand within here. So it wasn't really like a lot of competition for pricing, but it wasn't like a lot of thin run up. You know, we got a huge competition, accumulation, close higher, and then we're opening, and now we're not trading the wick. Traditional, I would expect us to pull back into these bids and then go from there. So this becomes another buying opportunity. If we can get down here, you'd look to add to that position because you can expect a rebound. So usually I'm never really excited about inside value because I know that we're going to trade around a bit and then we're going to get a lot of volatility, especially after a big trend week like this. We're normally going to get a balance week and then potentially a test week, and then we're going to run. So it's hardly we ever just run. But with crude these days, I won't be surprised. Again, I will be looking for confirmation on my position that this is a good one when we break the D period high. You know, we do have an offer stack here, but we have to make the assumption that, you know, again, we may see some responsive activity. For me, I think if we can start to trade above, we'll probably go through this quite easily, and then we'll make our way back up to value high. So roughly about $78.98 dollars on crude. So there definitely an upswing's coming, and when we look at the structure, typically we tend to get an upswing when we tend to see this kind of structure. The S&P 500 did talk about this. For me, I'm looking for a dip back. So these are the assets on my way. The Aussie dollar, I've already got a position on crude, and I'm looking to get a position in on the S&P. It is in a bullish framework for me structurally. Again, I talk about this continuously, guys. And if you want to know a lot more about structure, you should check out our free Discord. You will find, in my opinion anyway, everything you need to become a successful trader. Right. So in my opinion, I think if you pop into the Discord channel, see what we're doing, see the conversations we're having around these assets. I do a lot of posts on the channel, so again, it's just a perfect opportunity for people to kind of, you know, get their head around, you know, what I'm talking about here a lot of the time. So again, check out the Discord for more info. And again, if you want to learn a little bit more about these things, you know, we can talk about it, whether you're looking for one-on-one tuition or you're looking for just a course framework. You will find that I have everything on the Discord for whatever trader you want to be, right? But again, you know, I don't hold punches. I will show you what the real deal is. I'm looking at the S&P because again, I was thinking from where we are, value high, it's an opportunity to get short. I was thinking that we're going to see some downside movement, and then we should be looking for buying opportunities as we trade into the value low of the prior week. Now, because of the structure, I would think that we are going to see a breakout at some point. I have my absolute worst case scenario into 3990. I will look to be heavily long if we do break down into this support. So everything will be jacked up. I trade options as well. So you'd find that those option premiums are going to get hugely jacked up on some of these names, especially some of the more liquid names. I can see today Apple is down pre-market. So again, that creates quite an interesting prospect coming into the open. We're about 20 minutes from the open. So we're seeing some weaker behavior on some of the stocks, but we'll see how we open. Yeah, but it's been quite interesting. For me, I can see there's a lot of trading on the tape at 173.50. There was a lot of shares being traded. So just to give you, let me see if I can just pull my screen up here, right, so you guys can see what I'm looking at. Right, so obviously I'm looking at my option plays as well. So you can see here that was 173.50. And just as soon as the time and sales window can load again, because I've got it set to show me block trades. So usually when I move the screen around, we tend to see the block trades disappear. But I can definitely tell you there's about quite a few tranches of shares being traded on Apple. Yep, there we go, perfect. So you can see here how many shares have traded pre-market. It's insane. We see like 173.50. These are all mid-price takes, 262,000 shares. There's a lot going on here. I need to check the condition codes so I can see what kind of trades these are that have gone through, what they mean, right? Because that's a lot of shares, right? So we don't know. This could be something related to corporate action, it could be something else. I need to check the condition codes and then I'll figure that out. But again, when we look at this, we can clearly see that we're hanging. We're 172.50. We've seen trades at 173.50. We're yet to work out what that means. We are consolidating sideways, so we could get a bit of a dip here, or we could get continuation to the upside. So yeah, it's a bit interesting. Let me move this back now to the screen. Right, so it's a bit interesting here, some of the observations we're making for the S&P, and when we're positioned like this on a balance, then I wouldn't be surprised to just see us drop off the hook. And if we do, then it becomes a great buying opportunity. If we get an overextended move and then we take out the R and W period prints, again, it's not the end of the world, right? Because then it means we're going to trade this downside print here, and then it's a good opportunity to get long for a big bounce. So for the S&P, I'm definitely looking to get involved. What I want to see is a reaction at value low. So we hold, we do a print, we steady, then I'll look to go long this for a break to the upside. Again, it's an overextended market. We've been going for a couple of weeks. The pullbacks haven't been very fervent, so hence why I'm not very confident that we're going to hold to the downside. I mean, gold, of course, same scenario, inside value. I don't like to play with these. We've got massive competition to the top side, but now we're struggling. We can see another print developing now in J period. My expectations with gold is that we have to break lower. There's a lot of downside we could catch, so I would pay attention. We also have a gap in value here. So there's a lot of downside for gold to eat. Potential here for an $1,800 an ounce drop before we can think about any upside movement, right? So we just tailed off that 2K level. Again, my longer term target for gold is about 2,400 an ounce, but we're going to have some movement sideways and to the downside before that will happen. Right, so cable, as expected, bit of a pullback this week. Let's see where this goes. Again, I'm looking for a reaction. We split that profile here. You can see this is a steady cut to the downside. So we're eating a lot of, this is going to keep going lower. So let's see how we open. Again, for me, if we can trade down here, cable's in a bullish framework equally, depending on where we settle. For me, it's a great buy back into the 125s. Again, when we think about natural range, we should expect that that's a possibility, is for us to trade through, and as we can get into these lower prices, I'll look to buy this for a rally into next week. Or rather, I should say, add to my position. One of my interesting plays I'm looking at is dollar yen. I think this is also perfectly placed to do an upside break. Structurally as well for the yen, it's the dollar is bullish versus the yen. This is not a bad trade location. I think we have a initiation print here against this week's profile, or responsive against this, and then we're steadying. We're still yet to trade into value high. We might balance there, but again, for me, it's a good trade location. I think where realistically we want to sit is we need to be able to get risk a little lower, and I suppose that's the challenge with trades like this, is that we have to get that big break, right? So because we're needing to hold risk a lot further out to avoid being taken out in a sudden move, right? So again, this was a good play, I think, from the close, but judging by the build, we're inside value. It's about the only inside value trade that I would consider. is dollar yen at the moment. I think it's in a really good place to bounce. Dollar CAD, we're going to fill that gap again. When we do, I would look to sell this short. So again, we've gone down, hit rebound. I think we're going to go for the gap this week. So again, stronger dollar probably later on in the week, and then we can expect a break back down to the downside. Again, if we do cut lower, so we struggle and then we break to go under, we will get continuation, and then I will look for downside moves. Again, if you look at where those targets are, you can see that natural range wise against the week, you can expect 131.70s, 80s as a finishing level, and then I'll look for a rebound again before we get any more continuation. Or who knows, we might get a small dip back up and then a little bit further to the downside. So dollar CAD equally looking for that rebound. So basically what we're seeing here is a stronger dollar. Bitcoin, I did say, for me, it's trading a strong level at the moment. I am expecting us to trade out a little bit more. So again, Bitcoin looking at natural range, it's tempting, right, to get long here. Structurally, it looks right. We're trading off bids, but I'm nervous on this one. I'm not even going to lie about it. So I haven't really touched it because I think with Bitcoin, it's a bit more volatile. I think 24K, 25K is a bit of better level for me to be a buyer. So I'm just waiting to see, just in case this market fakes me out. Sterling yen, same position as cable in my opinion. I think we've got a gap in value yet to fill. So I am expecting some downside moves. So I'll pay close attention to this. So with the volatility that comes with cable, I think we'll see this play into the yen, but I expect a much stronger move to the downside when we think about that one. So yeah, so that's kind of where I stand at the moment. So I think right now I'm just paying because I'm in a position for cable, in a position for crude, have been for a week, and I will make sure I punch the P&Ls in terms of where I'm sitting with these ones at the moment. And I covered the position I had in dollar CAD. I'm waiting for a rebound. So I'm looking to potentially add dollar yen to my repertoire. I do think that there's good movement there. There's a good case for it. And I'm also looking at the S&P, definitely the Aussie. I can bring that into play, but I won't look at all. It will be the one that offers me the highest probability is what I'll jump into. At this point in time, I think it's a good idea to pay close attention to what we're seeing here on dollar yen. But guys, to my next video, adios.
Hey, listen, I quit. Yeah, I'm going into stocks.
Name of the game. Move the money from your client's pocket into your pocket.
But if you can make your clients money at the same time, it's advantageous to everyone, correct?
No one is paying attention.
It's unbelievable.
Have to act now.
God, this is intimate. I feel like I'm financially inside of you or something.
Okay.
I have 5 houses and a condo.
I'm considering going long on April week. What do you think, Valentine?